ain't got time for all of that. Could never make me hate on David Raya or Declan Rice. You get me? Smash the like button, people. Smash the like button, play a rating, smash the reaction, all that stuff, man. Let me know your thoughts, man. You knew I wasn't going to leave you hanging, man.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian, man. Come on. People deluded, I'm back again. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and of course, in some cases, good night. Now, again, addressing the elephant in the room. Manchester United won, Arsenal won. Obviously, it looks like we're going to get this Andrea Berta guy. David Ornstein provided his update. I'm sure you lot have a lot to say about Arsenal in the first half, let alone the second half. Man United in the first half, let alone the second half. If some of you are point watching and talking about Premier League title races at this point in time, big up yourselves and good luck to you lot in it. But yeah, man, again, apologies for being a few moments late. That's only because my heart was in the right place, people. I was doing a more condensed match reaction that's actually scheduled to come out at 8:30. The link's pinned to the message as well. So yeah, people, let me know your thoughts. Smash the like button. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and of course, in some cases, good night. I must admit, when I just played the Ian Wright clip, it just made me think, boy, you know what, you up front, maybe even Eddie Nketiah today. Like, I can't remember the incidents, but there was a ball put into the box and no one was there. But boy, I don't know where to start. I'll be real with you lot, because I feel on one hand it is the same old things. Obviously isolated to today, it's Manchester United versus Arsenal. No two games are the same. Football is decided in both ends. I know our defense, even when they've made mistakes or not at their best, they can get us out of jail, and they've been saving our bacon in both ends for the vast majority of the game of the season. Really, it's the final third. It's the same old issues. I think Trossard had a stinker today. You know me, I don't do this scapegoating thing, and it's not all on Trossard. He was rubbish today. Everybody's going to remember that fantastic tackle from Declan Rice. Yeah, Marino's giving the ball away. Marino and Trossard are giving the ball away. Trossard's giving the ball away foolishly. Marino, I can't. It weren't the Declan Rice one. It might have. Declan Rice might have had two of them. But anyways, Marino got caught lacking on the ball, and they should have scored. Man United should have scored. There was one where Trossard's messing about trying kick ups. Obviously, Trossard and Calafiori, and not just them, have made a mess of the first. What led to the first goal? It's a fantastic free kick from Bruno Fernandes. As we all know, 9 times out of 10, nobody is going to score a free kick. But that was the one time it could. Raya's positioning could have been better. The wall could have been better. There was actually some interesting. Like, I think Joshua Zirkzee and someone else from Man United, they're blocking the runners of a lot of Arsenal players. There was I've seen handballs given for less. I'm seeing choke slams. I'm exaggerating with the choke slam, but grabbing up next. It is what it is, man. You know, I don't know how you look at it. Is it 2 points dropped? Is it a point gained? I would say for us, purely because we had to come from behind, it's a point gained. Then we got out of jail. We should have killed the game in the first half. But again, we struggled to create, let alone convert chances. And we knew how the game was going to go. It's the same old script. Man United, not even just because it's a Man United thing. They're going to be, teams, we've earned that territory. Teams are going to sit back against us, say, come and break us down. And we did play well. We progressed it from Raya. We know what we're doing it. From Raya, the defense, to the midfield. It's down the left, it's down the right. We throw a lot of jabs if it was a boxing punch. We don't go for the knock. If it was a boxing match, we don't go for the knockout kind of blow. If I'm honest with you, I give or take, Declan Rice, David Raya, don't know where you are at man of the match now. We know it's Man United, but if I am saying my goalie is my man of the match or potential one for a team that's 15th, 16th, whatever, we haven't done well enough. It is the same old, and it is what it is. I don't know if we're going to act in the market in the summer, but yeah, we were very fortunate. We should have killed the game in the first half. Second half, Raya got us out of jail. How Joshua Zirkzee, Højlund, and maybe a couple of others didn't get on the score sheet, I don't know. It's disappointing beyond the obvious to, like with the West Ham game, ironically, another team that's got United, to concede that in the 44th, 45th minute, which is ripping up any halftime team talks. If I had to say I was disappointed about anything, it would be the initial stages of the second half. I think Man United came out well. Now, I guess for Manchester United, if you're a Man United fan, that needs to be the minimum of your club. It's easy to get up for a game against Arsenal. It's a rivalry, all of that kind of stuff. For us, we got our jail, man. David Raya, Saliba, Gabriel, you weren't man of the match material, but I think Timber did well. Lewis Skelly, when you came off, when you came off the bench, did well. Again, I reckon I was shocked. Like when I was on Talksport, I said it. Go and watch that watch along or leave a comment in there. Think people keep up the DJ agendas. Spoiler alert, I apologize for not doing a watch along today. We're not going to do a watch along for the Champions League game against PSV. Normal service resumes against Chelsea in the League Cup final, people. So apologies if you was thinking, "Right, where's DG?" But yeah, man, we didn't take our chances. We have to thank our lucky stars that on the Lord Sunday, the Red Devils didn't do what they needed to do. They defended well. We couldn't be broken down. The counter-attack was very scary. The majority of the game was going to be spent in Man United's half. And obviously, we backed ourselves like 2 defenders versus 2 attackers on the counter. So it's a mixed bag, really, man. Both teams not got identical struggles, but kind of identical struggles. Can see cheap goals, do not convert their chances. I'm sure Manchester United and Arsenal fans will disagree on a lot. Like if I just said who was the better captain, Roy Keane or Vieira, one thing they would agree on in, you know, where you look at the history of both those teams, both teams need to go out there and get a striker in the summer. Need to get one. You know, Martinelli big you up. That was a positive surprise. You know, we need as many players back as possible. I do think when he came, literally first minute or two when he came off the bench, I think he was looking like he's on it. Then maybe the muscle memory kicked in and he reverted back to type and what we've seen in the last 2 years from Martinelli. You better thank the lucky stars that you was offside and the goal wouldn't have counted anyways. How on God's green earth you skied it from close range, I don't know. There was one incident where he drew a save from Onana. I think he needs to be trying to square that. So it's the same old struggles in that we ain't got a striker, whether it's Martinelli or Trossard, they're struggling. Young Wanyeri, nothing to scream and shout about today, weren't terrible. Young player, it is what it is in that regards. Rice, superb. I think Partey was good today to a degree. More of a positive performance from Odegaard, you know, drew a good save from Onana, but end of the day, you do want a bit more. It's another game where really and truly it's our defenders that get a bit more enthusiasm. I'm actually happy with the first couple of subs Mikel Arteta made because I said on Talksport, yo, we need subs, and we all know Mikel Arteta nobody can force my man to make any subs in it. So yeah, man, I don't think either team can complain, really. And I do think we got out of jail. I do think we got lucky in that regards. And I do think our bacon got saved, if I'm completely honest. Like, there ain't too much to say. Like, David Raya's got bare highlights this season. And, you know, there's about, if the editors can do their job, there's about 2 to 3 minutes of great saves. Like, bro, even the one where, quite honestly, it's all a blur now. But there was one, he made a save, he got up like a cat, just made sure that didn't go in. I would say the 2 incidences Man United had when I was really scared. I think the young the young lad they bought from Brighton, what's his name, man? Toby Collier or something. There was a little scramble in the box and it didn't go in. Josh Rozersky, if he doesn't try that cute flick, he probably scores. I could be wrong. Mazawari or one of them, they shanked a shot wide where they really should be scoring, which again, I don't care because I support Arsenal with it, but yeah, man, we got out of jail today, man. We got out of jail, but that's how football works, innit? Sometimes you're not good and you win. Sometimes you're superb and you lose. Sometimes you're in between, innit? And both teams, to a degree, struggles are quite identical, man, if I'm honest. So smash the like button. It is what it is in that regards, man. It's disappointing not to be able to talk nonsense to my Manchester United supported friends. Obviously, this was a game that I'm 29. I've seen my team win the league at this ground. This is a fixture that should be, you know, talking about winning titles or trophies. Both teams have fallen off. Obviously, our struggles at the moment are very different, and Man United would beg to be second or whatnot, but it's a nothing game. It's not even bragging rights because I don't even think Man United and Arsenal fans care like that. It just win the game, really and truly. You know, big up young Aiden Heaven. I think he did well. I think you're very fortunate that, you know, depending on how the ref calls things, you didn't get done dirty, man. So yeah, man, it is what it is. Huge draw. I don't know what you mean, man. You're getting on to me, man. Allow me. ChatGPT's doing the YouTube description. Foxy, big up Newcastle United, yeah. But bro, with the greatest of respect, like sometimes you comment and I got love for you, yeah. But like it's all in jest. You forget you support Newcastle. You're not gonna be big bad bullies, all of that stuff. But bro, you support Newcastle. I must say, since Arsenal have been challenging, like Brighton, West Ham, Newcastle, we do not know you lot. Like, remember who you lot are. Isak got you lot acting brand new, bro. Man got their first Medina. But anyways, away from that, it is what it is. Yo, bro. Yo, DG, bro, didn't you stream the game today? Gavs, appreciate you and you reaction dons. No, I didn't do a watch along. I'm not doing a watch along. I didn't do a watch along today. I'm not doing a watch along on Wednesday. We're back on Chelsea, man. So you clip dons. Remember, I've told you it's a watch along on Chelsea. So yeah, man, it is what it is, man. Like, there's a lot for me. There's not so much. How do I make it make sense? Like, it's not even so much today with Arsenal, Man United. It's the same old struggles, really. Like, I'm seeing the same things week in, week out, essentially. Like, and it's not going to change until next season at the very least, where we hope that we act in the market. Like, I'm past the point of asking Trossard to do something, past the point of asking Martinelli to have decent decision making. We all know Marino's up front, and I think he was okay. I don't think anyone was terrible per se today. Probably Trossard if you had to press me for an answer, but it's a nothing game, really. And he needs to be buying Declan Rice a pint or 10, really, because we know how football goes. Match of the day would have been done like that. And I must admit, I did think more so, and I guess maybe United fans felt we might nick it. We thought they would nick it. I was surprised it ended 1-1, really, because in the dying embers in the game in particular, it did feel like one of those games, last minute winner, somebody's going to be crestfallen of sorts. So, yeah, it is what it is, man. I weren't at the Emirates, and apologies, man, if you was looking for a watch along. I'm back next Sunday. Yeah, that's Arsenal Chelsea. So, yeah, man, it is what it is. Mikel Merino belongs in a relegation battle in La Liga. Poverty player, harsh, man. Raya's positioning for the free kick was horrendous. It might have been, and Raya's gonna have to hold that. And I'm sure tomorrow or Tuesday or whatever, when they're going through the review, I'm sure they'll go back and look at that. And Raya, for me, the sequence of play that led to that free kick, to what Trossard and Calafiori are doing, to, again, Raya's positioning and other players, either way it happened, in it. Everybody makes mistakes. Raya, you made one mistake. You saved us 10 times. You know, you made a mistake against Newcastle in the League Cup. You've saved us throughout the season. So I'm gonna allow you. You made a mad save versus Villa. Oh, big up David Raya. And, you know, I don't think we have a title winning team definitely this year. But if you had to really look at it, we've got a quote unquote title winning defense. We don't have a title winning midfield or final third. Like, we all know how we're gonna play. Inverted this, work it down the left and the right. Like, it's a madness. Did feel, well, not sorry for Sterling, but I thought it felt like we needed pace, because at moments in that game, United was starting to gamble. They were starting to feel themselves. I think for us, we need to look at the incidences in the second half. But I think if we had to review this game, all I needed to see is the first 45 minutes. If I was Manchester United's Ruben Amorim, the second half, because you should have got 3 points. Both teams arguably should have conceded a lot more than the one they did, in it. So I guess it's a tale of the thingy, whatever, in it. But yeah, man. And to be honest, in the second half, towards the end of the game, I was getting concerned from an Arsenal perspective, naturally, in that we're looking spent. And, you know, the energy levels were dying. But also, think about it logically. Yeah, look, football mirrors life. If you are doing a task, whether that's an assignment or working task or whatever, when you're full of energy, you've had a good night's sleep, etc., you're on it. You see, once you start to tire, we all make mistakes, concentration. You might make spelling mistakes or whatever. The same as in football. I was seeing that in the game, if I'm honest with you, man. So it is what it is. Does anyone who actually knows ball thinks we're not going to consistently drop points in the league with no striker and Saka out for the season? Definitely not, man. But again, I wouldn't say it's preventable, but we've got to be brutally honest. In the 2 transfer windows, we dropped the ball, in it. And I think it merely highlights stuff. And don't get it twisted. Had we have had a striker and a winger on that pitch that I think is of standards, we could have nicked it. He could have scored more. But I think there's a lot. Mikel Arteta has a lot to do on a coaching front to really putting our players in goal scoring positions and creating chances. I do think it was smelly, in it, really and truly. Both teams packing out the midfield. There's the joy looks like it's coming down the flanks. That's what initially led to actually the build-up, which led to them getting the free kick. And say what you want about Bruno. I know he can act like a little child and be a diva and whatnot. He stood up to be counted. He don't put that free kick in. I'm saying these same things. But we get 3 points, man. DG Calafiori, he can't be left back again. He needs to go on a crash course defensively, like a proper intense crash course. Like, we've got a defender, which some of you say he's not a left back, he's a centre half. I say okay, because if he could be a left back or a centre half, we've got a versatile player. Some of you are saying put him up front owing to where we find ourselves. But you see, when you say he's a left back or a centre half, yeah, it's not that I disagree, but it paints the picture. If you cannot defend, if I can't have proper, because let's be honest, I always say I like Calafiori. I'm not going to write a man off. He's 22. You're a walking. That's my other video. See the work rate. Smash the like button. He's a walking fire hazard defensively. Like, Lewis Kelly's a better option than you. You were bought for 30, 40 million being an international footballer. Lewis Kelly just got his foot in the door and all of those things. So if you can't defend at left back, how are you going to defend at centre half? Especially when we play as a high line, especially where Gabriel has to at times mark the wide areas. He needs to go on it. And again, if we were to say Calafiori's strengths or do his highlights reel, of course he's got tackles and made things. but it's more in the final third. His highlights will all be in the final third. So I'm not going to write him off. He needs to go on a crash course. But in terms of win now mode, like if we were genuinely trying to win something across this 38 game calendar, or in all the domestic cups and actually with the Champions League, is we weren't in win now mode. Like, I'm not trying to be that guy, but was very naive. Was hoping that nobody got injured, that players that ended last season in the second half of it with a bit of form, and players that done it for the majority. We're hoping that all of these things happen. When in life, let alone football, you're going to have favorable conditions. Rightly or wrongly, you're going to have red cards. People are going to lose form. There's going to be games you have to, as harsh as it sounds, you have to win when you've been shit or players have been shit, you know. Because I do think we've added a bit of that into our game. On another day, we lose today, you know. But this is what I'm talking about. In the last 3 years including now, we've got ourselves to a level. But you see, if you want to get to that next level, there's a lot we have to arrest tactically, technically, on the player recruitment front, which I hope Andrea Berta is a step in the right direction. So for me, it's to a degree, no two games are alike. But in short, I'm seeing the same things week in, week out. Football's decided at both ends. You don't defend well enough. You don't score any chances or create enough chances. 9 times out of 10, you're not going to get what you want from the game. And I'm sure for Manchester United and Arsenal, just purely from a club aspect, let alone the fans, they know that. So it is what it is. We have no plan B against a low block. We've been here this season. We were here last season. We was here kind of the year before. Cash money, really and truly. And Amarin's a good coach, but the Amarin of Man United is not like where it needs to be, but they put in a half decent defensive shift. Newcastle did it, West Ham did it, Everton did it. There's not been too many times we've won or made something happen within those contexts, man. And to a degree, it's the same old players performing. And going back to what I said about win now mode, yeah, Marino, I don't think you're a level raiser. I think you're a squad player at best. I did, let alone play up front. Got a lot of time for Calafiori, but you're not. It's, you know, if I was to say Calafiori, Lewis Skelly, stay with me, the option of Jurian Timber, Tomiyasu, and everybody, you could even say Kivio and Zinchenko. I would play Calafiori ahead of Zinchenko and Kivio, but the others, it's not unanimous. So if we're in win now mode, we didn't bring in a game changer at left back at this moment in time. You're being kept. You really should be kept out the team by an academy player. Marino's not talking to the midfield three. I wish we could add a conversation. Well, Sterling's on the bench. That tells you everything. We ain't got that striker. We ain't got that left winger. We've got the same old issues on a tactical front. Like, it's the same old, same old. If nothing changes, nothing changes, essentially, really, people. So, yeah, man, it is what it is. And even forget United, because I don't even feel... I do feel Calafiori was shaky at times defensively, but it weren't one where you was terrorized. The Southamptons, the Leicesters, they tell you everything you need to know in that regards, man. So, yeah, come on, guys. We can win the Champions League. You can miss me with that delusion and hope are not the same thing. I have all the hope in the world. Like every team, whether you're Leo, Dortmund, Liverpool, PSG, Arsenal, I guess technically PSV, even though it's techie in the second leg, whoever's still in the champs, you always have hope. You always have dream. You always have hope. But then I'm not on the blind, like you said, blind hope. Well, delusion is blind hope. I'm not on that. I don't see enough. We're relying on a half-fit Saka, an indecisive Martinelli. Trossard's going through the motions. Still option of Marino up front. Sterling, I love you from a footballing point of view, but at the same time, bro, you're not a game changer. It's a serious weight on Lewis Skelly and Nwaneri, which for the majority of the season, them two young men have shown us a lot more what we want to see from more experienced individuals. If nothing changes, nothing changes. Like, win, lose, or draw, we're talking about the same things. As you can see, I'm not trying to do the negative thing. Arteta walked away from the Sky Sports post-match interview when asked about the title race, as you should. What's there to say, bro? Liverpool were 13, 14 points going into it, and now they're 15 points. Like, it is what it is. Like, we got to remember, to be fair to Arteta, emotions are heightened. You're going to get cheesed off when man are asking you dumb questions. You're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. You walk away, he's rattled, he's lost his head. He talks and he refuses to give up. That, we know what's said. We've gone too far. The over my dead body comments a few weeks ago did not get any reaction that he thought. You know, again, we'll go over Declan Rice's comments, but I think on the best of days, Declan Rice talks too much, but I think he's speaking complete facts in what he's on about, man. So, yeah, man, it is what it is, man. Like, it's the same old, same old. Is Zini better defensively from the left back position than Calafiori? Calafiori ain't the left back. I don't think so, but boy, horrible, man. Horrible, man. DG, the new DOF needs to do what Ranić said, which is some open heart surgery on the team in the summer. And now for me, I'm an armchair expert, like you lot, sitting here watching the games. Not Mikel Arteta, not the recruitment staff. But many people said there was no one on the market Who are you going to buy? All of that kind of rhetoric. I don't know. But what I would say is when you find yourself in a situation we're in between January and the summer, is there really nobody? Fair enough. You can have your A-list targets and your star boys and star players you want. Really? 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 Goals win games. Let's just say Manchester United and Arsenal, for argument's sake, this was a make-believe title race, and Arsenal and Man United, whoever wins this game essentially wins the title. If United have a striker, they nick it at the end. Well, they score plenty of goals in the second half. I think our issues around creating as well, like United's. But if we had a striker, at worst, we score 3-4 goals in the first half, and then United have their second half. We're still running away with the 3 points. Goals win games. The hardest thing to do there's two things that I believe are the hardest thing to do in football. Play simply, pass when you need to pass, shoot when you need to shoot, doing all of those things. Football's complicated on one hand, but then at the same time, it's simple. And then I think the hardest thing to do is put the ball in the back of the net, in which clearly we can do it. We're up there for goals for the last 3 years, but we all know when we really, like, this is a safe place, Arsenal fans, smash the like button. When we really look at it, when push comes to shove, there is no goal scorers, and any positive goal scoring statistic tells me on the best of days we've got a foundation to build upon, but it also papers over cracks, man. Because I was saying this last summer, I was saying this the summer before. So I'm not even, it is what it is, man. Declan Rice love for chat, but sometimes when he chats, I'm here for it, innit? I already said Rodrigo should go to us. We're moving mad. In the mud today? In the mud? Are we in the mud? Fair enough. If Jorin is winning, being in the mud, then that's a new one, man. It's not even a striker. We get to the edge of the box, then we're lost. And do you know what the saddest thing is, yeah? In isolation, unpopular opinion, I don't mind what Arteta does and what the players do. It's a fallacy, and you're talking absolute nonsense if you think we're just going to go gun-ho from minute 0 to 90 and be quite wasteful, because there's another side to this where we're angry about the fact that we move it to the left and the right and we wait for the perfect opportunity. The other extreme is we're just gun-ho. Now, admittedly, I'd rather see that at this moment in time, but there needs to be a balance. The left, the right, I don't mind that. But can someone do something that's off script, that's a bit random? Can we go up? For me, I don't feel we go up the gears enough. There's elements in the game where clearly we're trying to do things quicker, but we don't go up the gears enough. And there's not a plan B in that regards. And there's not a full, well, breaking down low blocks is difficult anyways. But Arteta hasn't got a proper solution for it. And if I look at it on another hand, we can do, like, everybody, Arsenal, whatever people say, everyone mocked us for set pieces. Man are scoring a couple goals from set pieces and they're happy with it. Everyone was chatting shit about us doing low blocks. Now everybody's getting praised for doing it against us. We are the low block kings. We love a mid and low block and all of that kind of stuff. And this game could have been even more smelly if Arteta wanted it. But if we know how to do the low block thing, and you got to remember, you don't just wake up and you're able to do that, people. That is hours and hours of training. When this left back's over there, what's the right back doing? How's the back five, including Raya, move? What angles? How does the other sections of the team? Because we always say you got the defensive, mid, and final third. It's like 3 sub teams in one. How do they move? If anybody should know how to break down a low block, and I'm not, you're not going to break down every low block, but we've not broken down any low blocks in it. Like, we've struggled more times than we found a way. If anyone should know how to find chinks in the armor, it should be us, because we work on what to do from it. All we need to do is what works for us in a low block. What's the complete opposite? That's how you find problem. That's how you find it. And for me, a lot of it is because we don't move the ball quick enough. If a team is being rigid and compact and wants to keep their shape, then logically speaking, if you're moving it at, obviously I'm exaggerating, but if you're moving it at a pedestrian pace, you're not gonna split them open. When you move it faster, all it takes is, I don't know, a Deluded and Mazawari, they're too far apart. One opportunity, bang, gone, we move. So these are things, a lot of the issues that we're talking about today and I've talked about all season. And I know it's easy for me to sit here because I'm not on the ground and I do think they're trying, but we knew about this last season. There's not a single issue around Arsenal that we are talking about that we never knew last season or heading into this season. We'd have to win a league or trophies in spite of the evident failings we're doing. Come on, people. Are we not at 100 likes yet, man? So, yeah, man, it is what it is. We're so predictable. Is right wing only trouble. And even that, if there was like the first 5-10 minutes, I think we pressed well. I think Man United were giving the ball away. And I think, I'm not a Man United fan, yeah. And for the life of me, I can't remember their players, but I'm 29. Like I grew up on like Man United being Man United, like Ferguson. So when I'm seeing 2 players of Man United, I can't even remember who, you're lucky. They made a mess of it defensively, and then they're high-fiving each other and carrying on. It's crazy, man. So yeah, man, like we know we move the ball too slowly. We can't break down a low block. We can't really create, let alone convert chances. Defense can save our bacons. Slightly, respectfully, yeah, there's a you know, there's a couple other players that are exception to the rule. Or some man might be good today and poor tomorrow. It's the same old players that we're talking about. Like, even if they're not amazing, they're evidently shown. I think Calafiori defensively, I don't think he was put under pressure like that, but you made me very, very nervous. And the build up to the first goal, I think Trossard was very wasteful and quite poor today, if I'm honest with you. Martinelli, the muscle memory kicked in. Yeah, bit of tax because you come back from injury, but final third, like being physically injured don't affect your decision making, and that's been their issues in that regards. Marino not really offering nothing up front, but he's dropping into midfield. It's the same old. I think it was more positive from Odegaard, but again, Odegaard's performance is nothing to shout about. If there's anyone, I think Saliba was quality today. I think Gabriel was acceptable. I think Gabriel was acceptable. I think Saliba was quality. I think Timber went about his business. As I said, Lewis Skelly, love what you brought to the table. David Raya, yeah, you can get at him for the free kick or whatever. He stood up to be counted. David Raya has to be the man of the match. Rice loved that as well. And even Man United, both teams sleeping off. There's bare man in that. Fortunately, as an Arsenal fan, there's bare man in their box, you know. Not one person has really watched the run of Declan Rice. And fortunately for us, until it's too late, man. So yeah, man, it is what it is, man. Let's be honest, we are just going to keep kicking the can down the road with Arteta. The man is showing in 4K that he's not at the level to get us over the line. I've checked out in it. Like, I just have hope for, not even hope, but like, just buy a striker and a winger at the very minimum minute. But yeah, man, I hear it. But look, Man United spent peas on Højlund and Zertsky, yet they still need a striker like us. New DOF has to get it right. Has to. And I'll cut the club a bit of luxury with a striker, because I hear you. You want the right one. Højlund costs bare money. He's not working out. Zertsky, I think, had some positive moments today, but he's not clinical in the final third. Probably more of a creator, 10 kind of guy, despite being 6 foot odd. But surely a winger then, like a winger. Like, fair enough, you can talk about Nico Williams and all of that. All we need is a man that is a 1v1 demon and you can work with him. I hear you with the striker, but we could even, like, the striker has to work because we've been looking for 3 years. As much due diligence as we claim to do as a club, things can still go wrong. Bare due diligence over Marino. Is everybody saying he's 30? And several others. Bare analytical work over Nuno Tavares, Fabio Vieira, Lokonga. Obviously, I'm being a bit silly, but my point is you're not going to get everything right. And I better be seeing the next R9, because we keep hearing about market opportunities, not the right players, not this, it's not that. Wait, Raya saved us, blood. No one can chat on Raya. No one can chat on Raya. Yeah, Raya, take 2 minutes and look at your positioning for the goal, because you've dared Bruno to do that. And it's a good free kick, obviously, but it's not amazing from Bruno. Like, I'm sure Bruno's scored better ones and he's had better ones saved, but he just hit the target. You've dared him to go to that side. He's done it. So maybe your position could be better. The wall could be better. The sequences of play that led to that free kick on the edge of half time. And these things happen. It's football. People make mistakes. People don't always score their chances. Balls get lost on the transition. This is football. But for me, if I had to really scrutinize it, there's never a good time to concede. As we all know, there's never a good time to watch your team concede. But on the eve of it's not in the right way. On the edge of half time, essentially a minute or so, it is what it is, man. Like, to a degree, Arteta's damned. Well, Arteta has to use what's available to him, but this is your issues. Boy, man. DG, that party sub was abysmal. It opened the midfield, and we also couldn't retain the ball. United thrive in those kind of situations. That's why they ended the game with more clear chances than us. I didn't understand the party sub. All I could kind of say is maybe he was knackered. There's been a lot of minutes in the legs and that. I didn't understand that sub, admittedly. It was nice to see Lewis Skelly technically get a little 1-2 minutes in midfield, but yeah, man, it is what it is. Pardon me. Odegaard couldn't make it count. The Wolves were crazy far back today. And I know Arsenal fans are measuring the length of the wall. I'll leave them to do it and I'll back it regardless. But yeah, Arteta has to go. He's not going to do it. He's not going nowhere, bro. You don't know my thoughts. I don't think Arteta is to be blamed for everything. I don't think it's a pitchfork thing. I think if it was clear that we're going to sack a man, we should probably do it at the end of the season. Not really right now. I think there's some things he can't be blamed for, but equally there's many things that he's engineered his own issues. I think he is a good coach. Just because we don't think he's the guy to get over the line, don't mean we need to act like respectfully to Amarin, who's took over at the midway point. If we were 15th, then I'd hear that. My thing has always been over the line. Mikel Arteta has not found enough solutions. We're at where we're at because of everyone at this club, including the players on the football in front. We know what the market was. And yeah, Arteta signed a new deal. We're not going to get rid of his 50 mil a year contract. And I personally think if there are people that can provide balance and whatnot for them fans, not the ones effing and blending, Arteta ain't got a leg to stand on, bro. Arteta ain't got a leg to stand on. Like, Onana is in goal. I'm seeing a man, again, big up everybody, but we're taking corners. Onana's under no pressure. Oh, Mr. Butterfingers, who spilt, there was a moment in that game, he spilt something as well. Mr. Butterfingers, we're not putting him under no pressure. At no point did I, well, tell a lie, I think maybe for Odegaard, but I'm not going, what a save. We should have been at the very minimum working Onana the same way Raya was worked. It is what it is, man. Like, we're there's a lot of, we know what this thing is, unfortunately. It's a lot of foreplay, not quite any penetration. It's, you can isolate every game, but this game you sign up for when you don't do what you need to do in the summer, what you don't do what you need to do in January, and when Mikel Arteta is a bit probably too focused on, rather than winning at times, not losing. And obviously the man wants to win, etc. But the way we're going about this is a madness now. Obviously, with the injuries, with everything that's at play, we're kind of at where we're at, but you get the point, man. Like, yeah, man. Pre-season settings, guys' heads in the Champs League quarters. Boy, it better be. Rice head and shoulders above the rest. Odegaard loves to spin backwards or go sideways. Those lofted passes are trash. Need to go big on a striker in the summer. 100 mil players are elite. Where were you, DG? I was looking up to your streams because that's the only thing that calms me while there's an Arsenal game, bro. B, I appreciate you, and I'm gonna keep saying I apologize. I didn't realize you lot love me that much, man. I appreciate you lot, man. Again, allow me, man. Trying to like anyone trying to upgrade my life in it. So yeah, Talksport gave me the call up, so I was there doing the watch along on Talksport's YouTube channel. Big up everybody on Talksport as well for busting me and whatnot. So yeah, I was there, man. But I always try my best. I know I couldn't be here, but typically our watch-alongs are probably about, give or take, 2.5, maybe 3 hours, because I do an hour before, and then we obviously watch the game, and sometimes I end it immediately. Sometimes we're rambling for another hour or two. So yeah, man, like, I think we pressed well. As I said, we didn't capitalize on Onana's poor distribution. We never tested that keeper once from any real situations. Yeah, man. The streets were calling for DG during this nonsense. Appreciate you. This man DG was getting cheats from a bird and blew us off. I wish. I was. The funniest thing is you can physically see me. Like, you can see me, man. I've got a good alibi. If this was in court, I've actually got an alibi, man. Onana is known to be the weakness of United. We didn't take advantage. You said it there, man. You said it there. Mbappe and Vinny are going to destroy Calafiori. Awful signing. Italian Mustafi. All I can say is I don't quite agree with that. But yeah, man, they just have to prove you wrong. Trossard was awful against a fasting Mazawari, abysmal. Big up Mazawari and all the Muslims all over the world, didn't it? And especially the footballers, bro. Like, is what it is, man. But again, like, you lot can see, like, how much times are we gonna say like Trossard shouldn't be a regular? He's a regular because he has to. Martinelli's decision making, Marino non-existing on the best of days, let alone up front. Respectfully, and it's not a scapegoating thing, but we're talking about the same things like week in, week out, and for the best part of a year. And yeah, man, I'll be real, this has been the worst season of the three. Like, I mean, if it ends on us winning the champs, God allow us, please, yeah, then cool. I wouldn't say all the wrongs are forgiven, but it's cool. But this has been the worst year. We haven't led the title challenge. You know, last year was known and you could see how good we were defensively, and I think the players looked a bit more galvanized. The season before, we weren't that good defensively, but going forward this year, we're not better at any aspect. I'm sure the metrics teams and Mikel Arteta will say something different, but for me, looking at this year and the previous two, the first title challenge, great in the final third. Last year, great defensively. This year, I don't know what aspect we're better at, really and truly. I really don't. Because if I'm really honest, this season, the only real positives for me is that, and I know we got we got Chelsea to come, and we got Liverpool at Anfield, but quote unquote, we've still remained decent against the top six. Wanyeri and Lewis Skelly have come through. That's about it. And again, probably go for it tomorrow because I don't know where it all is to hand. I had to kind of rush, but I did see some talking points like in the afternoon in relation to Arteta. I talking about phases and all these things, but about really competing. We've got a good team, but you see, good and great. We're not a great team. I'm not asking everyone to be world class, but people are great. Even the year Leicester won the league, they were great. You knew what Kante was on, you knew what Vardy was on, you knew what Mahrez was on, and all that Schmeichel and all the others. We're not a great team. We got a couple very good players, but if I'm talking about 4, 5, 6 players max, that's not sustainable across a 38-game period, let alone however many games when you consider all the competitions. And people want to be talking about being harsh. Winners win, losers explain, bro. 3 different years of however way you shape it, context, this, that, and the other. And all of these things are valid points, but winners win and losers explain. And we've been doing a lot of explaining. When we get to the box, the forwards have pass 3 defenders, dead ends. Who's the Thomas Partey replacement if he leaves in the summer? Arteta system clearly relies on some sort of DM who's tall, athletic, and poised on the ball. Brother, the Atletico Madrid director or ex-director, he's coming in. Obviously, you're both Spanish. I'm sure you've come from a Spanish club being Italian. You come from a Spanish club. Arteta is Spanish. So I'm sure you understand how he works. Obviously, with the players, yeah, they bought João Felix and some couple big name players, but generally they've got some not cheap players, Atletico, but players that can go on and do good things. I mean, when I think of Atletico, I think of low blocks, deep blocks, physical players. That's what Arteta has clearly been trying to introduce. You can see the height in the team. Berta must know what we're doing in it. So, yeah, man, like it's the same mode, man. Like it's the same mode. Like I'm not vexed about today. I definitely wanted to win, but we're talking about the same old things. We have again. I think we've regressed this season, but some people say we haven't. They might say stagnation. I'm not. This ain't a civil war. If you think we've regressed, I'm with you. If you think we've stagnated, I'm with you. Either way, are these things that should be spoken about of a team that wants to win things? This shouldn't be spoken about. Where we came into this season, a lot of people, the gloves are off for Arteta, the gloves are off for the players. They have to get over the line. If City fall off, we have to be there. A lot of explaining. Liverpool might fall off a cliff next season. 3 players on paper, contracts running out. FSG done onslaught dirty in the transfer market. By the end of the day, 2024-25, it's their name is going to be next to the Prem. They've made history. 2nd Premier League I've seen them win in my lifetime. Great send-off potentially for Trent, Salah, all of these guys. We ain't done nothing. And I'm away from everything. I genuinely believe, and I've said this before, I won't say the players mentally have checked out because I don't feel that, but I don't quite feel, I don't know the word, but it's got to be difficult. The last 2 years not winning the league, I don't think they've been in that headspace. That's one thing that I've looked at this year versus last year. It's like we were on it. Not that we ain't been on it, but was on it. Everyone wanted to make a difference. Everyone was doing whatever. So it has to be a bit mentally exhausting. How you pick yourselves up next season to fight for a league, I don't know, but you need to. Because it's the same old talking points. The gloves are off. This is a must-win season, make or break. Couple of injuries, and then it's all context FC and that. Boy, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. So, yeah, man. It is what it is. Tomorrow, at some point, we will go over like proper everything Mikel Arteta said. I'll find the interview stuff. You don't know me, man. Make sure you're subscribing if you're new here, people, because I'll definitely be live, and I'm trying to collaborate with 1-2 people. So there's it on paper. There could be anything tomorrow from 1 to 4 live streams throughout the day. Tuesday, I don't want to talk too tough, but someone I used to make a lot of content with rants. Big him up. We're gonna get something done. And yeah, man, Wednesday, unfortunately, I'll make content on Wednesday as I always do, but unfortunately, there won't be a watch along. Got the Talksport call up again, mate. So we're gonna go. I promise you, lot, Sunday, unless I get another one. On Sunday, we'll be back for Chelsea. So you lot, bear with me, man. Bear with me. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. Arteta is allergic to low blocks, just like Pep. And I think it's because Arteta, like, and I do think a lot. I do think all of these managers are on that micro managing all the situations. Even Carlo Ancelotti. The difference with Carlo is he's very street smart. He knows when to, and this is in comparison to everyone, he knows when to overcomplicate and when to just let people do things. He knows when to have his own thoughts. And also you hear several talking points of Carlo asking the players, yo, what do you lot think I should do? I'm sure all the other managers have done that. And also, Carlo's got some extreme smart players. I think Arteta is too focused on micromanaging, in which that's helped us get to this point. But then there's also a trade-off. I think there needs to be a bit more freedom. I think we need a striker and a winger, but I think there's a lot of issues from a coaching front. Specific, well, not even just that, but specifically in the final third, because we've got it's done, but it's like we've got a plan to know how we're getting it from Raya all the way to the edge of the opposition's box, and then it's Umin and Arin and whatnot. There was periods where I felt we upped the gears in this game, but clearly not enough, man. And no one can ever tell me about Declan Rice. You lot can have all of your concerns. He's not above criticism. But I said this before, and I'm going to say it again. Out of all of the issues, big up my guy Catch, man. Catch should be here on the show tomorrow as well. And D as well. Big them up. But of all of the issues in this Arsenal team, Declan Rice can't be a major talking point. I'm sorry. I am so sorry. He can never be. And I did like his celebration, man. But yeah, man, we should have won. We dominated Arsenal, DG. Didn't do what you needed to do. Like, take it from an Arsenal fan. Forget Mikel Arteta, bro. Arsene Wenger, we dominate and whatnot. You lot beat us. Well, you lot beat us at the Emirates. One of the worst defeats to Man United. Yeah, there was 1 year. Big up Louis van Gaal. You lot rocked up with Louis van Gaal. You had like Paddy McNair. You had, pardon my language, some shit players. Bare domination, and we didn't make it count. In fact, there was another game when it was just us versus De Gea. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. I hear that. That's for you lot to go back to the drawing board. There's probably been times where, you know, teams would reckon that you've drawn, other teams where you've drawn or beat, and they'll say the same thing. This is football, bro. There's been many times we should have dropped points. We should have dropped a lot more than 1 point today. You could argue we should have only got a point against Leicester. You could argue Aston Villa. I don't know why this sticks out in my head all the time, but Aston Villa away last year, first half of this season, where ironically David Raya has done a madness. So yeah, man, I think if you ask any Arsenal fan, they're probably a lot more confident in the defensive third than the final third. We probably hold a lot more of our defensive aspects or our defensive players in high regards than our attackers. I think you look at that defensive unit, everybody loves Raya. Saliba, Gabriel, cool. Timber's calm. White's calm. Cool. Calafiori might not be flavour of the month, but I think many people will allow him to a degree. Lewis Skelly's brought himself into the mix. A fit Tomiyasu, which has been non-existent, and we probably have to stop factoring him out. Tierney's leaving, but even Tierney, the option off the bench, which, again, thought he had a positive little 1-2 minutes. You get into midfield. I'm a fan of Rice. I don't know for him in the 8 role, but statistically he's doing his thing, and I just think Rice needs to be on the pitch. Odegaard, pardon me, I got a lot of time for Odegaard, class player, but you're not a trench baby. Partey's not going to be here next season. And I don't know. I think if you ask 20 Arsenal fans whether a Partey should get a new deal or not, you probably got 20 different answers. Some are for, some are against it. Wanyeri has had to lift this club. Unfair on him, but everybody's cool with him. Everyone can't wait till Saka's back. And then it's Umin and Arin, really. I don't think we should be relying on Havertz. I think that's a squad player. I don't think we should have bought him. But if Kai Havertz is one of your more consistent and reliable attackers, if specifically under the lens of trying to win a Premier League title, you've gone about it wrong. I don't think everyone's convinced on Kai Havertz up front as a regular. You lot know me, I love Martinelli. Guy's decision making is pony. No wonder he ain't readed his wife yet. Decision making, pulling out that. Pause. Trossard, I think he's a bench boy, rotation bench boy, super sub with the greatest of respect. Obviously, we've had to play him into the ground. Big up Gaza man, Raheem Sterling. The less said on that, the better. And the best thing I can say about Raheem Sterling is he's not at this club or staying at this club on a permanent basis. If nothing changes, nothing changes, isn't it? In an ideal world, if everything was ideal, striker. For me, this is just my thought. Striker, winger, Partey, long-term replacement. Can't tell you who that is. I don't know. Zubimendi is very different to Thomas Partey, so I'm not sure where Arteta's thinking is next season, assuming we get Zubimendi. But centre mid, 8-6, I don't really care. Just bring in a midfielder in it, because as much as you lot know me, I'm here to sit here and talk about that stuff. I don't really care. If you're a midfielder, just play like a midfielder. Even if you're an 8, you know when you need to defend. You know when you need to go forward. As a 6 as well. A 6 has to be, you know, a 6 is one of our first attackers in this system. That's why Rice ain't playing there. Rice can't consistently turn on the ball and play it forward. Arteta don't want that. Or Rice would be playing as a 6, rightly or wrongly. So yeah, striker, winger, midfielder for me. Immediately to that starting 11. Immediate. If they don't address that, that is one thing. If you don't get all of those 3 signings, Arsenal Football Club, Arteta, sporting director, anyone in that club, you man are not, apart from the players, because they don't decide transfers, you man are not serious. Then once you start like adding in extras, for me, I would like another versatile defender. I would like 2 goalkeepers, a second choice and a third choice. Go and get me some random 30-year-old English don where you can get the homegrown thing. If you want Garcia, Arteta, go do that. That's your second and third choice. Clearly need another 10 as well, or someone that can play in there for when Odegaard. Let's be honest, Odegaard, fair weather player, man. He played a bit better than he has, excluding the PSV game. Why? And because the sun's shining in England. Even in Manny, the sun is shining. So yeah, man, if you can't win, don't lose, innit? And it's a weird one because if you offered, if you offered Man United fans a point before the game, I think they go for it. If you offered them a point after it, 100% they're not going for it. If you offered me a point before the game, I wouldn't be against it, but I want 3. Considering we got a point, I can't have any complaints because, yeah, I think I shouldn't even give a flying fuck about the second half because the game should have been killed in the first, but we've spent about 46 minutes rambling as to why the first half went the way it did, right, people? Second half, very fortunate, extremely fortunate. Have to thank our lucky stars, people. Have to, bro. Have to. Tailor 2 halves. And you look at us in the first half, possession, and there's a couple things you don't know I don't give a flying monkeys about. I don't care about expected goals, for one. I don't really care about touches in the penalty area and final third entries. Why I don't care about that is because once we're getting in there, we're not doing anything with it. But possession, expected goals, big chances, corners, passes, accurate passes. I mean, passes should be accurate. Dribble, shots on target, touches in the penalty area, final third. We had more than United, but they box smart. You have to kill games or games kill you. And it's not the same, but it takes me back to the both Brighton first halves, really and truly, and how it panned out. And many a time, our game management, and it's not, and I'm more speaking broadly, not necessarily in relation to what we saw today. Until we get on the right side of these things, we're going to keep having these same conversations, people, if I'm brutally honest with you guys, people. So yeah, most wins versus United in the Prem, Arsenal. Most wins versus Arsenal in the Prem, United. So yeah, it is a rivalry. Unfortunately, people, we've got 1 win in our last 4. We've got a win, a loss, and 2 draws. So yeah, and even if this was like neck and neck with Liverpool, we would have folded. That's why I keep saying you can act as romantic as you want about Arsenal at this point. You know, Arteta, former player, these players have held L's. We've been given injuries, referee injustice, Merino playing up front. All of this stuff sounds romantic. But football mirrors life. In life, there's romantic moments, but for a large part of our lives, it is cold and calculated. There's doers and there's non-doers in it. There's winners and there's losers in everything in life. For you to win, someone has to lose. If life was fair, we'd all have a lot less. Need to find a way to get over the line. And clearly, a big thing that will help is the transfer market. Mikel Arteta needs to arrest a lot. And a lot of the players, I'll be real, a couple men have to have a long, hard look at themselves. I think there's some good players. But players I truly believe in for the whole of the season or the majority of the season, I think Timber's earned that from me. I think Gabriel and Saliba have earned that. I think White has earned that. I think Timber's earned that. I think with the asterisks of Lewis Skelly being young, I'd throw young Ethan and Lewis Skelly into that. I think Saka's there. I think Rice is there for me. You show me enough that I can rely on you throughout the season. Saka obviously is a no-brainer. That's that tier. And then you break it down into Odegaard, I like you. I believe in you, but you're not to them man's level. I know when the tough gets going, I'm not going to see you. Partey, you've had a good season generally, but you're leaving, so you're a bit irrelevant. Jorginho, Uncle can come in and do a thing, but he's not the guy like that. Merino, I actually think people are very harsh on you, but you're not serious. Like, you're not a level raiser. You're not tenacious. You're not really amazing or stand out at anything. Like, you're just a steady Eddie. And yeah, I cut you a bit of a blight at the moment because you're playing up front, but bro, this is not sustained. This is a fallacy. And unfortunately, if you've watched Mighty Ducks, if you've watched Coach Carter, that is on brand with how Arsenal season typically goes. Big up Rice for the last-ditch tackle, which is, shows his decisiveness in both boxes, to be fair with you. What has he said? Now, tomorrow, people, I want to really go and find all the comments and stuff and speak about it a lot with you lot, people, because you don't know me. I love to make content and provide you lot with talking points. Declan Rice said probably the tackle just because of the state of the game. It defines the small margins of football for me because it could have been a penalty and probably a red card for me if I didn't react as quickly as I did. You know what, Rice? You've given me some good moments, man. You love back your 2 goals against Man United. Obviously, one at the Emirates was a winner. You won against Luton, saved us against Chelsea. There's been some moments from you, Rice, you know, in the last 2 games, you've been good. There's been some, and I might be missing out on the next one. Anfield, when you're defending by yourself. Got time for you, Rice, man. Got time for you, Rice, man. So yeah, I think he's right. I made the tackle, and we go to the other end and nearly score. These are the margins in football. But for me, those tackles are equally as important as scoring goals. That was a big one today, so I liked it. I mean, Arteta could say, "See, I told you he could be all action. He's decisive in both boxes." But it doesn't really surprise me. Declan Rice, a big talking point, arguably more than his 20-yard curler, which was great, and it was lovely to see him shushing the Stretford end. Like, they've got to be careful with their celebrating because the stadium's on its last legs. Defending thing, like, great tackle. That's Rice's bread and butter. Everything else, the goal is gravy. That's just extra gravy. Like, his defending is what he's been doing prior to Arsenal, what he's been known for. That's what got him bought for 100 million quid. He then said, just to hit it, be positive. Timber rolled me a nice ball back. The space was on the other side of the goal where I finished. So it was just about a clean, nice connection, a nice sweep, and just put my foot through the back of the ball. So I was happy with that. It's always special to score for this club. It's not a bad feeling. He then went on to say, people, we passed the ball really well, moved really well, just didn't create enough like we did in PSV on Tuesday night. Now, forget the bit on Tuesday night against PSV for obvious reasons. That sentence, we passed the ball really well, moved really well, but just didn't create enough like we did. Or just didn't create enough better yet. So let's highlight this. If you didn't know we played today, and obviously that's about Man United, yeah, and I put up a number of games this season, and I put the quote, I got a bag of you in here, and I put the quote on one side of a whiteboard, and I got the games, yeah, and I said, what game is Declan Rice talking about? Sure, some of you are going to say Man United, but someone might say Everton or this one or that one. If nothing changes, nothing changes. We're doing the same things again and again. In the second half, we opened up a little more, had some more chances, but also on the other end of that, we were a bit naive in the last 10 minutes, doing stuff we've not done all season. Why is that? You lot sort it out, because Arteta's got a lot to answer for. Moments like that, I believe the more senior voices in this team, you lot should be getting together and saying, why are you doing that? I don't know. But for me to hear we was a bit naive in the last 10 minutes of a game, doing stuff we've not done all season and could have thrown the game away, there are 2 different spins on it for me, and probably a point is fair in the end. Now, that tells me everything, because the last couple of moments in the first half, literally just the last minute, let yourself down. Towards the end of the game, look what Rice said. Game management, street smartness, all of this is good at Arsenal. It's not great. And until it's great, you're not going to win Prems. You're not going to get to Champs finals. You're not going to really scumbag these league and FA Cups. It is what it is. So I don't think he said anything wrong there, especially with David. David as well got the save at the end. 2 amazing saves. So big credit to him. All right, Sky Sports, Arsenal. Somebody needs to. Why has David Raya not given an interview? I need to hear from him, because he did his thing, people. He really, really did his thing. And at the end of the day, people, we had 17 shots. They had 10. We had 6 on target. They had 6 on target. We had 69% of the ball to 31%. We had 9 corners, which we didn't score from 1. They had 2. So statistically, you could say we dominated the majority of the game. So our point's probably the fairest result. I reckon the first half we could have nicked all 3. We're very fortunate that in the second half we didn't get robbed. And both teams, we conceded in added on time in the first half. They've conceded in the last 15 minutes. These are things that if you speak to Wenger, Sir Alex Ferguson, the former players of Man United and Arsenal that I held in regards to say the same thing. I ain't got a leg to stand on, because in the grand scheme of things, I'm just a fan. I ain't been in that situation, but they'll say the same things. Boy. So yeah, man, it is what it is in that regards, man. Moving on. Let's see what he said. It's frustrating not to win the game with everything we did, especially in the first half. The first 43, 44 minutes, how we dominated every aspect of the game, full control. We lacked a little bit in the final 15 to 20 meters. Again, going back to word association, people. That first couple of sentences, you get where I'm going. We're talking about the same things. And Arteta, for me, one thing I'll give you, I think you're a superb planner. I think you can find a game plan and whatever. You can plan all week. We played United on Sunday. For Monday, you've got to plan how to stifle them, and all that stuff works. But you see, once a spanner in game, like all the theoretical stuff works, but you see in game, like when you're actually watching the teams play, something goes wrong. With 9 times out of 10, we're in trouble, you know. We need to be a bit more fluid in that regards. A little bit in the final 15, 20 meters to have more shots, more purpose, more direction, the last pass, the last action. But the game was clearly for us and in the direction that we wanted. Unfortunately, one long ball and we didn't manage the ball well. We give it away, create a foul in a real dangerous area where you have to rely on them not to take advantage of the individual quality. And that's a really bad bet against Manchester United. They capitalized on that in the second half. We tried to generate the momentum. We scored a goal, and my feeling was that they were struggling. They couldn't get out. And I feel like they didn't have the legs to do that. We opened the door for them to maybe win the game. We gave some very unusual balls away and very basic things were done really poorly. Even though we had 3 big chances, the reality is that David Raya saved us. And at the end, we could have lost the game. Can't disagree with anything that the gaffer said there. If I'm brutally honest, I don't think there's a disagreement to be had on dropping points in the last 3 matches. Some of it is because our players are not here and what we didn't do in the market, and players have been run into the ground. And from what we've been talking about for 55 minutes, man. Today, the efficiency we had in the last 20 meters, it wasn't good enough. We know that there are big parts of a lot of things that the game demands when you come to Old Trafford. And what we did was superb. But at the end, you have to capitalize on that. When a team is so dominant and much better than the opposition, and today we didn't, then you have to overturn a result, which we know is very difficult to do here. You have to expose yourself a little bit more because you have to take more risk. And then the game could have gone either way in the last few minutes. On the free kick being moved slightly, they just mentioned that if Bruno has done that, football is for street smart players, and he's done that and capitalized on that. He's more clever than us and the referee. Exactly, bro. Rules are there to be bent, rightly or wrongly. We need to, rather than do this woe is me thing, we need to react to that when that's happening against us and do that. Big up Bruno for that. Is he bending the rules? 1,000,000%. But they're there to be, like, he's playing for Man United. I've watched them bend the rules. He's there. The ref should be picking up on this. It is what it is. I'm not interested in. I don't really give a flying monkeys about the ball being moved and all of that crap because the sequences of play, we can't prevent that. What we can prevent is the sequences that evidently led to the free kick. And that's, even the game should be wrapped in the first 20 minutes. Anywho, people. On if it should have counted, I don't know, but he's done it. It was a goal, so he took advantage of that. Football is for clever people. Exactly. And, bro, you lot can do this. It should have counted, and people can count the wall. I don't care about that. I'd rather just control the controllables, essentially. On Martinelli, big you up. Your decision-making is pony, but you came back. You did a job for us. We have to rely on what we can do better with the players that we have already. Arteta, I hear that. We've got no choice. I don't really want to hear that at this moment in time. I won't lie. And we have to be consistent because we did so well 4 days ago. It's about doing it again. Yeah, but it's Europe. They open up for us in Europe. And again, what we did last week, it doesn't matter. I'm very positive that with the ones that we have, we can do better in terms of what we produce in the final third. On if the players are happy, I'm very happy with the ones that we have. I mean, Arteta, you want more players, bro, but it's not the transfer window. On Bukayo Saka, with Gabby, it was a bit different, the kind of injury that he had, and I think we talked about it last week that he was much closer than Bukayo. After the international break, let's see where he is. His progress is really good. He's really willing, as you can imagine, so we are positive that in a few weeks he'll hopefully be back. I'm coming up against a low block. I think Amarim mentioned it, and it was very clever that he didn't want to play that, and it was very clear that he didn't want to play that. But in the manner that we dominated the game, they didn't have another choice, and then they scored a goal and capitalized on that. We were unable to score a second. You reckon? He said that's the responsibility of all of us, and we don't want to put that into the minds. I agree with you. That's fully the initiative that everyone has to take, especially when we defend and attack against so much density. We've done it in the past. We've done it recently, but we have to do it consistently. On if our training sessions are geared to playing against a low block, well, maybe we're not doing the right things, but naturally, yes. Yes, and as well, another big part of those set pieces and the amount of situations we generate that. So that's another tool that a few weeks ago and months ago we were exceptional at and opened up a lot of games. And we've lost a lot of players up front, so we need to require all of those things as well because they're really helpful. On the title race, I don't want to say that, but today the frustration is that we haven't won a game. We know the urgency is about winning every single match. If you want to have any chance of doing that, and I don't think it's the right moment to talk about that. I hear that, Gaffer, but let's cut the crap, bro. The title is done, bro. It was done before that. It was done before. But many people will look back like last season. Aston Villa at home would be the one most people say is where it's lost. West Ham this year at home would be that long lost. When have we led the title challenge? When have we truly been happy? When have we been perfect across 90 minutes? Which perfection is an illusion, but you need to chase that dragon if you're a nitty and you're chasing perfection. I think we were chasing perfection last season in many regards. We didn't do that this year, so can't really complain, man. Any captain notes? Where's Martin Odegaard? I don't know. But at least you didn't lose in your 200th game, Arteta. And bro, this was my Arsenal, you know. This. Ah, well, it is what it is, man. We all know Martinelli returned to the match day squad, people, and you know he made his first appearance since being injured on the 5th of February, so just over a month. So it is about right. Apparently, Saka is expected to return to full training within the next month, having undergone surgery on a torn hamstring in December. So we'll have to see. Don't expect to see Havertz back this season. You hope he's back for August. Gabriel, Jesus, and Tomiyasu, we hear December. So we'll hope for that. Again, if you've been living under a rock this today, people, Andrea Berta has reached an agreement with Arsenal to become their new sporting director. Berta became available in January after more than a decade at Atletico Madrid, where he was central to the Spanish team's progress. The Italian was among multiple options Arsenal considered during a thorough process to replace Edu Gaspar after his resignation, in November. It was driven by managing director Richard Garlick and executive vice chair Tim Lewis, with Josh Kroenke involved on behalf of the ownership and input from manager Arteta. Berta prioritized Arsenal above a number of other top-level opportunities, and those suitors have been told of the 53-year-old decision. We all know Jason Ito was doing that in an interim basis, and his name was under consideration. We all know Berta evidently is a lot more experienced than Mr. Jason Ito. He spent 12 years at Atletico Madrid before leaving the club in January. So yeah, man, it is what it is. We did hear in January he was actually ironically studying English in preparation for a move to the Premier League, people. So we'll have to see, man. Let's get it going. I'm not on this next season thing, but in terms of building blocks for next season, get it popping. Liverpool and Arsenal could afford to sign Alexander Isak in the summer without breaching financial rules, despite Newcastle valuing the striker at 150 million quid. Arsenal are leading Spurs, as we always are in anything, in the race to sign Benjamin Sesko from Leipzig. Newcastle have serious interest in Hugo Nketiah, who is linked with us. And apparently Arsenal have 7 strikers on their shortlist. I'd imagine there's a lot more than 7 of various denominations, and that goes for Man United, who need a forward, Chelsea need a forward, Spurs, who want a forward, and Arsenal, and anyone else. Isak, Watkins, Liam Delap, Samuel Porto, Benjamin Sesko, Lautaro Martinez, Jonathan David. Jonathan David is going to be a free agent. Sesko is the one that's always linked with us. Ollie Watkins, are we going to pay what Villa want? Isak, Isak, I'm always gonna put your name in titles. I'm gonna anytime we're linked, the game's the game. But come on, man, like I'm bored of speaking about why Arsenal will not sign Isak. Of course, I hope I'm wrong. Liam Delap, especially if Ipswich go down, especially because it's a World Cup year next year. You never know what a great bit of form can do for you. Surely Liam Delap's in contention for an England call up as well. Lautaro Martinez, we've been linked with him for years. I think everybody knows that's a myth in it. So yeah, man. Admittedly, transfer news, all that gossip, that's a tomorrow stream thing, people. It's a tomorrow stream. We ain't got time for that. But yeah, let's crack on. Let me get back to what you're saying. Sign Jonathan David and another getting only one striker is outright failure. I hear you, but we're not gonna. I just don't think you're gonna get a Jonathan David, so a second striker, one striker, 2 strikers, like a marquee one, a winger, and still have Gabriel Jesus for at least another season, and all of these things. I just have Havertz as well. I don't think we're gonna do that. Don't worry, most of our fans think semi-finals is an achievement. Delusional Arsenal fans say we can win the champs after beating a dead PSV. I'm more concerned about who will lose this summer than on who will sign. But hey, everything's a possibility. I don't care for new player signings. Give us a new coach. Hoping Salah leaves. Liverpool and City are still trash next year. We're relying on others to slip up to win anything. The Madrid clubs will humble us. But hey, mark my words, this scrub Amarin is winning a trophy before we win if Arteta is still our manager. Martinelli has been rushed back. This manager never learns. Give Saka the rest of the season off. What's the point of rushing him back? I hear that, but for argument's sake, if he's been past fit, and I'm not saying I agree with it, because I'm with you lot. If he's been past fit, well, how are they rushing him back? I'm with you lot. Devil's advocate thing. No one respects us in Europe. We have no heritage at all. I hear you. We need to get heritage, but I'll be honest, yeah. Fuck anyone who doesn't respect Arsenal. Fuck anyone who's got a bad thing to say about this football club. And I expect that. I'm not saying you, but I do think there's a section of them, mainly the social media Nike Arsenal fans. Yeah, like there's this clamor to want validation from other fans. Fuck them. Not supposed to like us. I don't really give a monkeys, but if you know, I barely like Arsenal fans, even though I love my club and I love you lot. I think we lose 4-1 to Real on aggregate. If we play Athletic, it will be 3-0. Either way, Champions League, we're done out here. Pick up yourself, Charlie, but you know, I don't know what West Ham's got to do with this, but yeah, today, but I hear that, man. Sorry, I'm late, folks. Big up yourselves and DG Joe. Big up yourself. Big up the mods and the members and everything. One love as well, Charlie, for becoming a member as well, man. Well, that was a depressing result. Despite that, we're already out of the Premier League race. Now we have to protect our position in the top 4. Facts. That free kick was not even in the corner. Raya's positioning was poor. Arteta is not relying on players that he already has. Some don't even get to touch grass. He's a fraud. Madrid will beat us 2-0 at home and 3-0 away. For anyone asking which Madrid I'm referring to, both. What efficiency we created, square root of F4. That was funny, I must admit. Not even an Arsenal fan, but Deluded deserves so much more love than he gets. Charlie, I appreciate that. I hear that, and it's nice and it's motivating, but if I deserve it, I get it. So I can't promise anything. All I can promise is that I'm really with this over dead body stuff. I'm not Mikel Arteta. We're going to keep going, man. You can't be underrated forever, man. And with people like yourself in my corner, what can I say, man? Newcastle set the formula of how to beat us. Everyone else is following the recipe. Arteta has run out of ideas. He always talks about evolving the system and all them thing there. You're going to have to evolve it, innit? He had enough time with this team and the club. Can we move on? Finally, nothing is coming in our way, and we're still having flashbacks with the state of the team. Injuries, yeah, of course, but no ambition, mainly. Boy, smash the like, shout yourself, said. We're talking about the same things, bro. Smash the likes, and if you're new, subscribe, roll to 70k. Boy, corners are dead these days. We ain't scored from the corner since November, innit? For the fee you paid for Rice, has that been value for money? When is there going to be value for money? Like, when is a number 6, a glorified number 6, you're playing at 8 value for money? The most you can do is just make it so people shut up about your price tag. And I don't think for all the criticism of Declan Rice, nobody could talk about his price tag. Do I think we should have been spending? I like Rice. I'm happy we got Rice. Do I think, I don't know who, but for what Rice is, which is a box-to-box midfielder, strengths are around winning the ball and tackling, everything you do beyond that is a bonus. Could you, I don't know who, but could you have spent a fraction of the cost, exaggeration, and maybe look to have sourced one? My personal bias is if you're going to, well, definitely ruin art, and it's on brand that our club record sign is Declan Rice under Arteta. For me, I think if you're going to be talking about 100 and all of these things, I think it's for wingers and strikers. Them man win games. Like, that's it, innit? But all he can do is shut up about the price tag. Like, really? And how is he going to provide value for money? People say win trophies. He can't win a trophy on his J's. Rice is doing all he can in the incidences that Rice can control. He's doing all he can. No one ain't talking about the price tag. And Rice is one of our more consistent players. We know there's an English tax. We know all of that. Like, I'm not saying you're necessarily wrong, but I'm past the point. In fact, you're not wrong. I'm past the point of caring about price tags and all these things. I'm not saying be reckless, but I mean, I wish I had 105 million, but bro, we ain't got 105. It's not my money. Who gives a flying monkey? Who really is value for money anymore? Is Trossard better than ESL? Boy. Worse, United side outplayed us. I'll never forgive this manager for what he puts us through. DG, is it me or it seems like we're taking the Champions League more serious? I can't say I hear that, but what's giving you that inclination? I don't know what. I wouldn't say we're not taking the Prem or the Chap serious. I think we're not because of all the stuff I've been crying about for just over an hour, but we ain't put all our eggs in it. If anything, I'd reckon United were taking the Europa League today more seriously. And you got to take everything serious. There's no teeth in the attack. We're hanging on by threads. City getting closer to second. DG, you can do all the fancy possession stats. Didn't Liverpool have similar game in the champs? You need to put the ball in the back of the net. That's the hardest thing to do in football. It's as simple as that, man. Odegaard just running in circles is frustrating. The attack is too rigid. Need more interchange. You're not going to do that because Arteta's thinking is as soon as them man there lose the ball, how do I win it back? And certain man have to stick to certain positions. There's no healthy. Sorry, people, 1 second, I'm still here. There's no healthy randomness. And I'm not asking for 100% randomness, but just a couple, like just 10% randomness. Because whatever we say, do I think Martinelli is someone to rely upon? I think at best, Kai Havertz in this current state, Kai Havertz, Gabriel Martinelli, Trossard, these men are squad players at the best. You throw them in, you say Saka, you say Wanyeri, you say Odegaard, Rice in this 8 role where statistically he's creating and assisting. I think we need more quality. But for these players, should this be a problem? So Arteta has to soldier some of that blame because these men can go to other teams and they wouldn't be saying this, you know. Other teams are working with less resources and bopping. Everybody loves Semenyo and Cliver and all them dons at Bournemouth. And when I was at Talksport, there was was watching the Spurs game. I'm so jealous of Areola, the way the man they press and a couple of the players. It shouldn't be an issue. Maybe, you know, everybody's got to go back to the drawing board, but maybe even Mikel Arteta, he's got to fight with himself. He's got to find a trade-off in what he's doing, because I think it's a double-edged sword. On one hand, I can't sit here and like the same things I'm not necessarily happy about. They've helped in their part to get us to this point, but then we need to get to the other side. The attack is too rigid, need more interchanging. I think we're all in agreement. We've all been saying this. In pursuit of the title, Arteta should have tried to pick up a couple cups on the way like Klopp did, just to breed a winning mentality, which helps in getting over the line. 6 years trophyless is mad and counting. He will tell you, I know he would say that we won the English Super Cup, as I call it when I'm running bants. But yeah, Tomiyasu, one of the worst signings we have made. I have no sympathy for him, honestly. You can't be on 100k and sharp like Jesus on Easter. I mean, come on, man. Come on. You really think Tomiyasu wants to be injured? I hear the frustrations, but you really think you really think a man doesn't want to play? You really think he doesn't want to be fit? Mentally, we all know what an injury could do, much less being another setback. Obviously, it's very different me having an issue physically and health-wise than someone that's essentially financially free in Tomiyasu. But how relevant is money if you can't do what you love? The byproduct of him realizing his dream of being a professional footballer, the byproduct is money. Viggs, big up yourself, but slightly, that's foolishness, bro. And you got to have a heart, bro. This is a man's health. For every footballer of every club, the only asterisk I would say, if there's a footballer that's racist or something, then if you get injured, that's your business. But generally, come on, man. Come on, man. You're better than that. I know you are, because you're here. So you know common sense. Worst signing, really? One of the worst signings. There's about 50 worse man than Tomiyasu. Yeah, the injuries are a big thing, and my patience is gone with a lot of things connected to Arsenal, Tomiyasu included. I'm not even going to do it, but you know yourself, that's an anger comment, because you know there's literally about 50 players if we really sat down. Gallas immediately, never a captain. I'm not even... You're encouraging my foolishness, man. But yeah, we're gonna move on, man. Let me scroll up. This is why DG, this talk about bring on Madrid is just pure delusions. United look more threatening every time they attacked us and their team. These 3 races, we should have at least won one. Now, I honestly think we've missed the opportunity. From next season, City goes again. And if Liberty double down on winning this year's Prem peak, I think you mean Liverpool, the thing done you dirty, man. Calm up, big up yourself. It's like trying to stay with your primary school teacher for the entirety of your life. Eventually, they're going to run out of things to teach you and stunt your growth. Exactly. And across these 3 years, some men have been let go along the way. You know, Ramsdale, not really teeny, but teeny. Not really teeny on paper because he's part of the squad, but teeny. It happens. And Mikel Arteta, at the end of the day, I think you're a good coach. I think you will win stuff in your career. But I only care if you do it at Arsenal. And I think you've been here long enough, 6 years. 3 years have been a title challenge, so that shows your quality. But you can't get over the line, bro. At this moment in time, you can't get over the line. I hope you did, because reality is you're not leaving Arsenal this next season. Why would I not want my team to win? But there's an issue there. And I think we're at that point now of, have you done everything you can, in which if you left tomorrow, you would feel there's unfinished business. But have you done everything, reset the culture, done all of that? One love for that. It's about getting over the line. The man says it. And anytime there's a bit of adversity or us needing to get over the line when it truly matters, purely just winning silverware, since you won the FA Cup, the amount of League Cups, Europa, Champions League, whatever have you, it's not there. And I'm not, we don't do this agenda thing over here, but some people would rather Arteta win than Arsenal win. I genuinely think that some people support Arteta a lot more because people have been drawing out Arteta all year rather than, be happy when the team wins and ask questions when the team lost. A lot of these PR dons and positive Arteta sexuals shut the hell up. And then when we won 7-1 against PSV, they're ready to say, I told you so, blah, blah, blah. They're probably shutting the hell up again. I've got no allegiances to the vast majority, to all of these players. And Mikel Arteta, you play for Arsenal, you manage Arsenal, I support you and criticize fairly, but I want to win. I know winning ain't everything. And people try and gaslight and say, oh, you just want to win trophies. Hell yeah. We're Arsenal Football Club. We should be winning trophies. These players should be winning trophies. The manager should be getting trophies and getting in finals. We're not going to do the City thing and dominate. But statistically, there should have been a trophy. There's nothing to sum up these 3 years. And for me, the 2 years. This year, we come into it kind of establishing ourselves. We've got nothing. There's nothing 20 years from now, assuming this happened, that's going to be set in stone. Rice was my man of the match, only one that wanted it. Bit harsh on Raya, but yeah, man. I don't. Who is these people saying give us Madrid and that? And that's one thing I hate about social media. Because if one idiot on Twitter says a madness, we've got a better team than this one, we're the big bad bullies. Suddenly, every Arsenal fan, apparently they speak for every Arsenal fan. Madrid can attack with 3 forwards. They don't care. Or passing left and sideways. It's not rocket science. Carlo has better players. Players win games. Managers' input is overvalued. On one hand, but it can never be. Especially when you go and look at what the players are saying about Carlo and the behind the scenes and the little moments. Do you know how fucked Carlo is tactically? It's just not wearing things. Of course, players are one thing. But if players were everything, the best players on the best team with the best players on paper doesn't always win whatever league they're in. Doesn't always win the Champions League. We never had the best individuals when we got to the final in 06. So where does that go? It's not as white and black in that. Or why would Madrid be struggling or have struggled a lot more under Carlo, where winning leagues, dominating La Liga versus dominating the Champions League, and even extend that to Zidane? It's not as simple as that. If anything, you're kind of slightly indirectly overrating Arteta and underrating Carlo heavily. Because Madrid are always going to have players. Because that means every team that's happened 9 times out of 10, to be fair, when you've had Ronaldo and Messi going to win the champs. But that's not been the case all the time, man. I can't see why he still chose to stay with Marino on the field and put Martinelli out wide. I would have put Ethan on. He was the only one trying to do something. We're definitely stagnant. Arteta is taking us as far as he can go together. And I hope to be wrong, blood. I hope to be wrong, but you ain't got a leg to stand on. If people want Arteta gone, I don't think you have a leg to stand on. I think there's many things you can say are positive. I don't think you. I think there's conclusive evidence and a conclusive argument you could say to say Arteta is not the guy. Yes, who are we gonna get? Blah 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 blah. I can't answer this. And yes, we could get even better or we could get even worse. These are risks. No matter how much research you do on managers or players, things can still go left. And at some point, regardless of how that side will go, you can't keep doing the same things in life expecting something different. I'm reading throughout this whole hour and 17 minutes. It's the same things on the field. It's the same knock-on effect of it. If nothing changes, nothing changes. And rightly or wrongly, speaking for me and many fair Arsenal fans, when things go right, manager gets praised. When things go left, everybody, including the manager, gets praised. People say dumb shit like, oh my God, what's he supposed to do without his better players? Which is true. But how have we got here? Even when everybody's been fit, we've still got the low block issue. So what am I talking about? Of course, Saka might slap it from 30 yards or of them 10 corners we had, Saka's delivery might be better than people who took it today. I don't know. When I think of Atletico, I think of them bottling the game today. Disgraceful defeat for Getafe, 88th minute and 92nd. Can see, damn, head loss. DG, was you press resistant on TalkSport today? They try a thing. Go pre it and draw your own conclusions. DG, I saw you on TalkSport today. I'm so proud. I'm proud of you lot, because without you lot supporting, pushing, we wouldn't get there. So by God's grace, we get many more of them cool ups and similar platforms, man. DG, something has to drastically change at the club. Either Arteta has to change philosophy or the hierarchy needs to back their manager. We could also see our squad wasn't strong enough, which is true. How is he not? I can't say he's not been backed. I do feel at times they've shortchanged you, but the amount of times they've sold you short to the amount of times you've been back, bro, you've spent peas. You're allowed left back galore, goalkeeper galore, ripping up contracts when not everyone's there, bringing in players that not everybody's unanimously agreed on, got a new 15 mil a year deal before a ball was kicked this season, gone from being the head coach, granted, post Arsene Wenger, there's not been that many managers, but gone from head coach to manager. Edu hired you. You've had some sort of say. We just read the Berta thing. You might not have been the be all and end all of what sporting director we was going to get, right? But you had a say in essentially replacing the man in that position of the man who employed you. You've got all of this. It's like we're gearing you up to do Arsene Wenger stuff, and you ain't got Arsene Wenger's CV, let alone that credit in the bank. And for me, if you same way you lot rate half of these players on the pitch, if they do something well, you're going to praise. If they do something left, you're asking questions. I don't think the manager should be above criticism. And it does feel that way, to the point where if I say Arteta struggles, like I've said, I think throughout the course of this hour and 90 minutes, I've given the man his fair dues. But if I say I think, let's just look at this sentence. If I say I think Arteta is a good coach, but he struggles against low blocks, man are going to see, the low block thing, you can't criticize him. It's a witch hunt. You don't like him. Man, bare people fancy Arteta. They fancy him. They fancy him. And they're not fans of the club. People are not fans of the sport of football. And this goes for a lot of football fans. Fans are not fans of the sport, let alone their football clubs. They watch it for agendas. Arteta's my guy or he's not my guy. That's my blinkers. This player's my one, that one's not. Half the people are spending half the game tweeting, chatting shit, looking at live score. We all know we live in this idiot day of life where I could be crap. I could be a footballer. I could be crap for 90 minutes. I might get a goal or an assist. I've had a good game. I could be very good for 90 minutes, but I haven't necessarily got a goal or an assist. I've been crap. It's frustrating, man. DG, what would you do to fix Arsenal? Ryan, if I knew, I don't know, man. I think genuinely the manager's position's got to be reviewed. Has to be reviewed. I think that's fair. I think it's got to be reviewed. That's not going to happen. I think you need a lot of it's recruitment. And I think you need to sit Arteta in a room, honestly, and say, this is what you do good at. Keep doing that. These are the things. Because it's small things that are having the biggest impact on us not getting over the line. Brother, you need to change this. You need to find solutions. At the end of the day, this is your job. I don't want to hear this woe is me thing. Because if Arteta genuinely didn't believe, if Arteta genuinely believed that he couldn't achieve whatever in his mind, his image of winning the Prem or whatever, he would have fucked off. Pardon my language, that's the reality. That one thing that annoys me is people act like he's a damsel in distress. Arteta isn't doing this football club a favor. Big up you for your rebuild. This club is beautiful, you know. If this was a woman, this is the beautifulest woman in the world. And for the girls out there, you lot can do the man thing. But do you know how beautiful this club is? You know how massive this football club is? You know what a privilege it is to be a manager, even with bare experience, let alone learning on the job and all the freedom. You're not doing no one a favor. You're not. You're learning everything. You know how much Arteta's learned in these 6 years that's going to put you in good stead in your career in general. I only care if you do it at Arsenal. I don't care. I think you're going to win stuff and do good things in your career. I don't give a flying monkeys if it's not at Arsenal. I do not care. And people are going to, certain people do. I don't. If it's not at Arsenal, I don't care. Stop acting like he's a damsel in distress. He took the job. He signed a new deal. He believes it. He believes he can do what he needs to do. Yeah, we ain't got Saudi owners and our owners don't care, but you believe you can do what needs to be done. You must be judged appropriately. Simple as that. And again, I mean, mine would be Javi Alonso because I think he's quite like Arteta, but the thing is, he's on tinkering and changing things, but we're not going to get him. When we signed Arteta, he was in the coaching staff of Pep. I'm not saying I want to go down that again, but there must be a man out there. So we'll have to see, man. I can't stand Arteta. Don't care what his fans think. I mean, saying I can't stand him is a bit harsh. You annoy me. I think, you know, if you left, I wouldn't cry. I don't really think for people that can present, like myself and you lot here, a balanced argument as to why Arteta needs to go. I don't think you got a leg to stand on. I'm not even saying sacking my man is the best thing. I'm at the point where I love my football club. And a byproduct of that is actually being on YouTube speaking with you lot. But I love my football club. Always going to watch my team. All of that jazz. Win, happy. Lose, upset. Draw, indifferent. We've been here, innit? A bit like today, on brand. Beyond that, I don't have any expectation. Expectation leads to disappointment. The only expectation I would say I have, you lot leave it all out there. Act like it's a privilege to play for this football club. That's it. You lot want to win titles? Show me. You lot want to be serious in the market? Show me. Too much chatting. And there was a point during the Emirates era, there's been a lot of chatting. There was a point under Arteta where at least it weren't perfect, but the chatting was correlating to the physical doing. We're going back into the chatting. And we're at that point now. I've not got hope in the sporting director. And what I mean by that is I do have hope in you, but I'm very wary of a man's coming in March. He's not going to be able to fix everything in one window. One man can't fix anything. What if he's got all the best ideas, but they're not taking him up on that? Arteta's job is to find solutions. It's not all on you, but end of the day, it is all on you. Some of you won't understand what I just said. Some of you will. And if you did understand that, subscribe, because you lot are the people I want here. Everything. Because regardless, and everything's not all you. You really think everything in part of all the set pieces and all the good stuff we've done at the club is just on Arteta? Why would he have a coaching, several members of coaching staffs? Everything is a byproduct of what we've collectively done or not done as a football club to get us to this point. And past this state, whatever we did to get us to this point of challenging for these 3 years, good and bad, it's led us to this point. We're here. Do you want to go over there? And the writing was on the wall in the summer. I don't know if you were incapable of getting things done, if it was gross negligence, if it was incompetence, or if it was all of it. All I know is you didn't build on what you had in the summer. You've been knowing for years the squad's not got enough quality, and the squad ain't in terms of years. In fact, better yet, numbers. We're talking about the same things, bro. I'm here with all of that. Arteta, all of that things you get mocked for. The dog called win. All of that is about. I rate all of that. All of that's got us to this point. Winning mentality. But just probably I said it there. Winning mentality. What's the point of having winning mentality if you don't win? If you don't win, we're at that point now. I don't care about the past. I'll respect it. Cool. You cannot move forward looking back. How do you get over that line? Because Arteta, you've shown you're a good coach. Manager, I don't know. I'm glad we have a sporting director now. Let Arteta focus on coaching the team. He should not sign the players. He should not be. We should not be talking about our manager like this. Something is wrong. Arteta's arrogance and lack of invention is keeping him back from getting us over the line. I don't mind my manager being arrogant. Everyone's got arrogance. My thing for that sentence would be, as you there said there, Salvador. Apologies for mispronunciations. Lack of invention. Because we're talking about the same things. We're very predictable. Smash the likes. Big up the mods, man. All my mods here. Right, you lot really missed me. Arteta hates strikers. He needs to stop hating strikers. We like that. And find one that's going to make the difference. Congrats on the TalkSport gig, by the way. Didn't know you were there. Appreciate that. I told you lot I would, but I guess I can make more of a meal of it and tell you lot. I get a bit shy. Allow me, man. Big up everyone. DG. Serious convo's got to be had. I've had enough of most of the squad. Odegaard shouldn't be captain anymore. The gloves are off for everyone, man. DJ, have you looked at the wage bill? These 5 years have been nothing short of disappointment. The hype around this project is now. It's not a project no more. Remember when Arteta said the project goes bang? A bang could be a good thing. A bang could be a bad thing. Where I live in Edmonton, a bang. You need to duck for cover, man. We'll call it life. Bro, people need to hop off Tommy Asu. He doesn't want to be injured. We're getting a new sporting director. This guy's a G2. Mikel is getting sacked. Boy. I don't do the victim thing, but I'm still 1,000% sure that if Rice was playing next to Rodri at City, everyone would have been, I'm not going to say that, but S-ing him off. We're lucky to have him, bro. We got bare problems before I look at Rice, you know. That don't mean you're above criticism. West Ham, big up you lot. Because I must admit, West Ham used to waffle about Rice, and I used to think, he's a good player. Now I'm here. Bro, Rice could pass, well, to be fair, seeing Rice pass the ball forward is mad. Rice could pass the ball 5 yards, and I'm gassing it. We signed Ozil when we got antsy. We thought these owners would build around him. He played with Jenkinson, then we got vexed, and they signed Sanchez. Then we had to choose who we wanted more. We love an unfinished puzzle. We do enough, and then we stop. And I said this in the summer as well, in that it feels like we're here. We signed a couple players. We went there. We let a couple players go. We're back. So this is why you can't mistake movement with progression in life. I can comfortably say I've watched more Rice than Arsenal fan base. Arteta isn't getting the best out of him. He's a world-class centre-back in DM. Like I said, broski, me, Rice, his bread and butter is the 6, but I understand why he doesn't play as a 6 a bit more in terms of receiving the ball. And this is what I mean, acceptance. If you look, Rice is playing 8, Arteta ain't going nowhere. I don't know if you're going to sign strikers or whatever. I don't think those at Arsenal actually above Mikel Arteta. I think Mikel Arteta makes a lot of mistakes. I think you want to win a title. It's how you're going to buy. I think the players do as well. Those above are not as aggressive or as patiently impatient on us wanting to win silverware and really capitalize of this going into this season, let alone the 3-year period, as much as the fans. And I know you can't, I'm not privy to knowing the accounts and all of the other inside things, and I'm not a sporting director or whatever, but you fumbled your opportunity. Rice is world class. People troll you for him, but he gets in every team in the world. People could trick games the game, man. Rice is a West Ham legend. I ultimately hope he does well with you lot, but your fan base make it hard. I hear you, man. Eddie Howe had 3 masterclasses this season, all 3 against Arsenal. He's been questionable versus everyone else. I just think Arteta don't want to change it. I think you're capable. I don't think you want to change it, which is my issue. You don't want to. This is what you're doing. Like, you've come. This is what you're doing. You're not doing nothing else. This is what you've committed. He's had to be a bit humble. MLS, 1-2 minutes in midfield. Had to utilize Tini on occasion. Had to even his little man minutes, but Zini playing in midfield. You've at time because of the injuries you've had to. You don't want to change these things. This is how you're doing. It's stubbornness. And I think a part of that is because there's not that healthy bit of pressure from above. Like, yo, why don't you want a title in 3 years, bro? Why you keep signing defenders? Why you keep doing this? Why you keep doing that? Surely you need to do this. Because a board that cares doesn't. Arteta, I think the club fumbled in the summer, but I think you fumbled the little budget you had. I think the whole club. I'm more on the board in January because Arteta I've clearly criticized Arteta. If you're serious about being competitive, I use that word loosely. Yeah, you can say challenging for the title, all of that, but I use that word loosely. If you are Stan Kroenke or whatever, and you give something close to a flying fuck about this club, and you see your poster boy, your franchise player, Saka's injured, Jesus is injured, your manager's been crying in January of last year and in December about we've got one of the smallest squads. Whether Arteta is deluded enough to not think we need an attacker, or he's turning up his nose at some, which I do think Arteta wanted players, but I also feel you was probably suggested one or two guys. He said no. Surely you intercept that and say, Arteta, I heard that. Bring it in, man. Don't really care. St. Lucius, big up yourself for the super chat. Big up DG. Man said super chat, the comment. Big up DG. Liverpool fan here, but real recognize real. Declan is an idiot for shushing the crowd instead of getting the ball and putting the pressure on United. I hear that, but I'm here for it, man. I can't lie, that square root of F4, I'm stealing that, man. That was funny, man. Mostly because of your fan base rather than your players, though. Charlie, I hear you, but speaking for myself, bro. Yeah, I wore a Dortmund kit early in the week. I don't care what Arsenal fans are doing. I don't care what any football fans are doing. I know social media is whatever, but I do always feel like one Arsenal fan will say everything, and that speaks for literally millions. Literally. I get it all the time. People will come up to me and say, oh, Arsenal fans this. I say, don't talk to me about Arsenal fans. Did I say that? If you can't tell me if I said that, then it's a myth. DG, you see Havertz as a starting 9 or move back into the 8. Next season, he will naturally get more game time in midfield. I think best case, worst case scenario, if that makes sense, is that the striker's there, Saka's there, the left wing is there, Odegaard is there if there's not an upgrade brought, but Odegaard's there, Rice is there, somebody's next to Rice. Immediately, Kai Havertz is out the starting 11. Generally, if your form is good and out of this world and all that jazz, competition should be something. You won't lose your spot. But naturally, that opens up, that's the best case, worst case in that I think Kai will get an occasional start up front. Or if the striker's out this world, he'll get minutes in midfield. Don't be surprised if you, regardless of this midfielder that's brought in, if there is a midfielder brought in, don't be surprised if you see Kai Havertz and Declan Rice together in midfield, next year. Please. Which is why I love the club, but in terms of winning, I have to check out from that. You might not serious. Some of you are serious, or you might be serious, or you're going about it in a way that I don't think is the way of going. To support my team in it. Anything else is a bonus. And it raises into question the League Cup. It's all coulda, woulda, shouldas, and it's another season of ifs and buts and all of that jazz. But you were so close to Wembley. Now, beating Liverpool in the final is a completely different entity. But next week, you'd have been looking at things very differently. Liverpool are going to get a brace at the very minimum. A double, the very minimum. Treble is on. Don't know. Fortunate decisions are going for them in the Prem, as you saw against Southampton, much less in the Champions League like PSG. The league's done. Champions elect, to say the least. Like, the league's done. League Cup, I don't know. Newcastle, it seems like there's injuries and whatever. And, I'd rather, in fact, I don't really care about Newcastle and Liverpool, who really wins. But the bookies will probably not pay out that much if Liverpool win, and a lot more if Newcastle win. Please, I don't care about phases again, man. We took liberties on Saka bailing us out by doing something special time after time after time. It was always going to blow up in our face when we lost him for a period. We kicked a lot of problems down the road. At some point, you're going to have to do whatever. Like, at some point, you're in issues. It's like someone that doesn't want to wash their clothes, bro. If you just stack up all your boxes and that in a pile, and you just keep kicking up the problems because every now, I need to do the washing and wash my drawers, but I've got a clean one here, clean one here. At some point, you're going to have no clean drawers, and it's going to be shit, which I know some of you are dirty, which, looking at football, is where we're at. Arteta wants pace and strength up front, despite what people say. I'm willing to see if we get Sesko and what we do with him. The guy's a rocket of a shot. Bro, I'm at show and prove. I'll only believe you're serious about winning trophies now. I'll only believe you're serious about winning trophies when I see you lifting something. About winning leagues when I see you lifting something. Strikers and really maximizing the market when I see players arrive holding shirts, talking to me about Tony Adams, Omri and Bergkamp. It's show and prove. I'm tired of the chattings. Well, getting banned by Spurs. The game's the game, but Spurs. Come on now. All I know, DJ, is I'm Arsenal for life through the good and bad. There you have it. 3 successive seasons of failure is tough to take. If you want to last long during a good shag, bro, when you're close to climax, you're moving mad. Man said, think about the football we play. Hey, some of you are crazy, bro. Players defo need to take blame because they can't. Defo can take initiative. It's the same old players that do take initiative, but then it's a double-edged sword because you do have to, rightly or wrongly, you are doing what the manager's telling you to do, and unfortunately, life is not fair, bro. This is football. Rightly or wrongly, when everything goes right, the manager does get praise. But for this example, 9 times out of 10, when a manager wins, it's all waffling about the players and everything, not necessarily the manager. When people lose, it's on the manager's head, bro. This is football, unfortunately. Yeah, I think Arteta coaches well, but manages poorly. I don't think Arteta handles adversity in-game in the right way. I can't say he doesn't handle adversity because there's been many times you don't get twisted. You should have been sacked, could have been sacked. Other circumstances would have been sacked. But there's other times where mere managers would have run away. But at the end of the day, brother, it need rebuild all of that. Great. Over the line. If Berta secures elite talent and the deep block problems persist, Arteta must go because clearly his tactic strategies are not working. What I would say, and you lot know me, I'm not with all of this. I wouldn't say it's weird that he did the dog thing, right? To be honest, you don't know I'm not with all this next season stuff, but based on how this season's been from start to finish, the injuries, the young players stepping up, the same old experienced players stepping up, we've been here now. It's boring now, isn't it? If you assuming you fumble that market, it can go south very quickly early. I reckon the first 3-4 weeks of the season next year. Well, it is what it is. Forget Madrid, bro. If Emre gets to the chance final, it's peak. I heard today Aston Villa only got 1 game in March. Granted, there is a 2-week period. There's been too many barriers this season. Red cards, BS, refs, injuries. We were a few good referee performances from being champs last season. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. I hear that, but I also think that's a cop-out because even though, Charlie, that's defo a factor, there's also been many times that I feel we didn't control the controllables. Like, we don't live in an ideal world. You're older than me, Charlie, so you know about Arsenal football fans, Sunday League, going into games, assuming things are going against you. And even if you remove dodgy refereeing and whatnot in the last 2 years, I don't think we controlled the controllables because I hear you with what you said about last season. I look at West Ham at the Emirates last season. Had we just put the ball in the back of the net, we're winning. And there was no refereeing nonsense in that game. A lot of that was a direct consequence of who was playing up front or who was brought to play up front. If nothing changes, nothing changes. The 2 games against Brighton, dodgy penalty call for Saliba. Fair enough. If Declan Rice is going to be sent off for that, people should be sent off for that week in, week out. But he wasn't. In both those games, even when we went down to 10 men at home at the Emirates, I was there. We should have won. That's just me, man. Would be a miracle if we win the cup with our players out. It's taken Arteta 4 years to sign a striker. Let's hope the wait was worth it. Arteta has 1 year left. But man, like I said, like this title thing and all of that, yeah. I've checked out, man. DJ, have you noticed a pattern with our play? Get a break, slow down by doing roulettes, and then pass the ball to the wingers who cross into the box, or pass the ball to Odegaard who plays a lofted ball. I just think we need to slyly go off the script. Like good actors. How many times Leonardo DiCaprio, like in Django, obviously you got a script, but you freestyle a little bit to get that performance. I need a bit more freestyling, and admittedly, I don't think we move the ball quick enough in general. So yeah, man, it's mad. I hope we can do well on the chance, but it ain't looking good. You just have to hope God's with us, innit? That's it. Boy. Over, man. Now. Don't know what to tell you lot, mate. Like, you lot all saw it, you lot see it, and you lot live it with myself, man. They're not brave enough. I don't feel our players are brave enough when it counts. I feel very few players. Like, it's easy to show courage when the sun's shining, we're battering teams. I'm not saying the players don't, but to me, as an ignorant fan who don't know you lot from nowhere, it's the same old. And 2 of those players have been in the first team 5 minutes that are showing the courage and initiative, I think. I think it's the same old people, mainly the defenders. and the two Haylenders that have come through the academy. And typically, because listen, I've said it all the stream. You lot say it as well. We know the players that stand up to be counted. David Raya, big him up. Squad depth has been our Achilles heel for a while. I wasn't even vexed with the Wanyeri one because when I look at Wanyeri and Partey, I would have kept them on, but maybe there's a lot of minutes in the legs. I don't understand it purely, but just trying to win the game. I didn't get it. And I think one of you or a few of you have made the point of Partey came off, and beyond the obvious, we're a lot more open. And that's the issue. Like, I'm not saying I know who to replace Partey with, but it's evident we've needed the long-term Partey replacement. I go back to the Declan Rice summer. We used to have a running joke for those of you that were here that there's a couple of running jokes on my platform. I'm always waffling about us needing a midfielder, and I hope and like I was gonna cry if we didn't get two midfielders in the summer we signed Rice. Them times there, I was on the Lavia hype because I thought that was he's obviously at Chelsea, but that was the young kind of Partey model. You're the young Partey. Partey's got a couple of years. Then you naturally go in there. Then we marry that in. It seems like sometimes we only want to replace someone when it's directly in front of us, bro. Kai Havertz's injury has just merely, for anyone that lived under a rock, bro, you're lying. Remember Kai Havertz initially went up front against Burnley or whatever because of Jesus' injury, and he did well, and we ran with it. Now we're really talking about strikers. The club should have signed one last summer. Coulda, woulda, shoulda, it's all gone. We're talking about replacing Partey when he's in the last year of his deal. In fact, the last few months of his deal. This is why I can't get upset no more, man. One thing not being mentioned in the predictability is Saka cutting in from the right to shoot. I remember a time when our bench had Cunha, and Wiltord, Ray Parlour. Exactly. Even Edu. I used to say that as well. I don't understand how Mikel Arteta and Edu, you were both midfielders, and Edu, he was respectfully, he was a sideman in the Invincibles. You was a rotationary option. So if anybody knows about the importance of squad depth, granted the amount of games then and now is very different, it's you, man. You Arteta as well. You might not have won any serious things like that or whatever, but I'm sure you have. But you haven't won serious things in the Prem and that. You've been at City. Now, City's different, but you know the importance of depth. Zinchenko and Jesus, no one can play down their contributions at City. They weren't the main guys, but there was times where they came in and did well. We're doing the same things. Yeah, 1 year he didn't do his thing today. I said that at the beginning, but bro, he's 17. You count on one hand so far the games he's been quiet. I'd say today, and I would say probably Everton as well, to be fair, when he came off the bench. But bro, it's a young G. People talk about us like Trossard hasn't been the only actual forward in our front line for the last month. I hear that. But that's Arsenal's fault. That's not my fault. That's not the players' faults. That's not you lot's faults. Arteta and the board, it's you lot. I'm not here with the he say, she say. You're all in it. You lot did that. It is what it is, man. But yeah, man. On one hand, disappointed to draw. On one hand, appreciative to draw because it could have went another way. But with that being said, though, people, we've been here for an hour and 42 minutes. I'm sure you lot don't want to hear me continue to waffle. I'm going to be back tomorrow. You know I hang around like a bad smell. And my more condensed match reaction is out. Yeah, man. Anything from 1 to 4 live streams from myself tomorrow. Again, just turn on your notification bell, subscribe if you haven't. And God bless you all, man. We do need to sign some players with some individual brilliance, though.
Against this right back, Charlie.